Fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Coffee with a Dog is live streaming now. My dog is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Stop this, huh?
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, you figured out how to stop that. Well, good morning. Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. We're having technical difficulties, and we apologize. It's nobody's fault, but if we're going to blame somebody, Matt.
Yeah,
we're going to blame somebody, it'd be StreamYard, because not StreamYard. Yes, StreamYard and Streamlabs.
Yes.
Well, StreamYard actually works though, so.
That's true, but let me start this out by saying good morning. It's Wednesday, January 15th, morning of technical difficulties. How are you? Good morning, GD. Good morning, Ron.
Stop sucking.
Morning.
Oh,
Stop sucking.
we got the Mind Dog.
So I've been having some internet issues, I guess, again. Am I still pixelated, Steven?
No, you look good.
I don't look good, but I'm not pixelated. Thank you, DD. Did they play the intros and all that stuff? No, they didn't.
You played the intro, but it was choppy. It was skipped, at least from what we could see here.
All right. Well, let's fire the guy.
All right. Yeah. If we're gonna fire him, Matt, how do I get you off here?
I got songs in my head.
Earworms or creativity?
Well, the second guest has a book called Hands of Gold, and I just can't stop thinking of, Frida Payne, Band of Gold. Since you've been gone, all that is left is a band of gold. And
Matt, you are funny. Your audio is crinkly.
Crinkly? I don't know what to do with that. Crinkly.
It's working on my end. He sounds good, and you look good on my end.
I hear static.
I hear static as well.
Static?
Yeah, it's like.
There it goes. Yep, whatever you just did, fix it. It's gone.
Beep, beep. Hello,
Yep.
Better.
Yep, that's better.
No, it actually
No
sounds
static.
worse. I had no static, but now his volume is not great. This system is so shitty.
It's so bad.
It's not the system. It's not the system today. It's my system over here. It's because I had to reset the modems. I had to reset the networker adapter. All these things. Anyway, yeah. So there's a show scheduled today. 2 guests. One is a sleep expert, and the other is a Nazi novelist. Not a Nazi novelist. She's not a Nazi. She's a victim. Her family were victims of Nazis, and she wrote a novel based on her family's Nazi experience.
Was it called Escaping the Trump Family?
Something like that. Hands of Gold. Now, since you've been gone, all that is left is a band of gold that rhymes with hands of gold. That's what it is. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
So,
One last thing. It sounds like your audio might not be coming from your mic at the moment. You sound like you're in a echo chamber.
See, when I hear Hands of Gold, unfortunately, I think of, was it Neil Young? I've been to Hollywood, I've been to Redwood, I've been a miner for Hand of Gold. No.
Checking 1, 2. I don't know that. I'm definitely going through the mic. That's what
you're going through the mic now, but the static is back.
Checking 1, 2. Static. I don't hear any static. No static.
No static at all?
No static at all.
I hear static. This is not Steely Dan FM.
Let me see if there's static over here.
Yeah, I was saying, let me pull up the YouTube.
No, there's no static coming through on YouTube.
Okay.
I think it's I think you guys suck. That's what the problem is.
No, it's definitely
Hey,
not.
don't blame us for this shitty system.
Not the system.
No, it's
Stop beating on the system.
Yo,
Well,
hey, the static is coming through on YouTube as well.
I'm not seeing it. I have a meter on it, and there's nothing coming through.
If you put it on and listen to it, there's static still. Yeah, it's heavy.
Let me see. You guys talk amongst yourselves.
So anyway, Ron, thanks for having me on last night, buddy. I know it was last minute. It was fun. It was a good conversation. Went quick.
Yeah, it did. It went really quick.
And it was nice to have sound effects again, which was really cool. That was fun. I got to hear my favorite sound bit. Like, dude, I heard that sound bit and I was in such a good mood that night. I was able to talk my wife into giving me some. That's how good of a mood I was in afterwards. That's what I need in my life. Those sound effects.
What, more sound effects?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey, make that whack whack sound for me.
It was so funny. It's that sound bit where Trump says, "I've been the best president for black people," and the lady in the background goes, "Oh."
Yeah.
Well,
Nope, there's no wow. There's no
no sound to baba?
Oh. I'm hearing everything delayed. There's no static coming through on my end.
Well, I don't think you can get your ears close enough to your end to hear the static. It's not very high volume. It's
All right. Well, we'll live with it, I guess. Yeah. What happened? You did a show last night and you called in. What the hell? What was I listening? Like I was delayed.
good, Ron, Steven. Y'all was the one having fun behind our backs.
Well, no,
What do you mean?
his sound trailed off. Like, yeah. So
Can't hear him hardly at all.
what did you say?
He says, what were y'all doing last night behind his back?
That's right. That's what I know.
Okay, well, since you're broadcasting from a shed right now, we just my podcasting partner, he let me know that he was sick. We were supposed to record last night, and he just wasn't feeling well. And so I reached out to GD and Steven got back to me. So
I got back to you two. Just too late to do anything about it.
Yeah. So it worked out that way, and
And
we had a good time doing it. An hour just flew by.
Was it on Facebook or I didn't see anything on Facebook? Where was it broadcast?
No, it posted this morning.
Oh, it was a recorded thing.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Heck yeah.
Live. Now you hear me okay now without static?
Yeah.
Yes, a lot
Yeah.
better. Awesome. Yep.
I didn't.
Your face is still the same. Can you do something about that filter?
That can't be fixed. I've seen several doctors.
Oh, you sound so much better. It sounds 1,000 times better. I don't know what changed, but okay.
I think his.
I investigated Restream last night.
Okay.
Okay.
And the basically it's the same deal as StreamYard now. I can basically it's 3 times the price of this thing, which I don't mind paying. But then for each one of your sheets, I have to mortgage a new house.
Jesus fuck. Oh my god.
I think it's probably about $100. I think $100 or something per seat. I don't know why having co-hosts drives the price up. It is letting people into the same. I could just, if I gave you guest privileges, then you can't do stuff. But I don't get it. Why is all of a sudden these streaming places jacking up?
Because everything is turned to like video games. They just nickel and dime you to death. Like, oh, you want this special gun? You can pay $5 for it. You want this? You can pay.
You want to buy
$10
this game? Cool, but you can't all the game. You only get 75% of the game. Here's the rest of the game. Oh, by the way, you want to play with your friends? You also have to buy this subscription and this service. Oh, but you have to get this tier of this service to be able to do this stuff with these people. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. It's stupid.
It's like the price of eggs. No, the price of eggs is because of bird flu, right?
And that's what's happening with the internet as well, and stream services. It's bird flu.
Well, they get viruses, but I don't think it's bird flu.
But it only affects co-hosts and not guests.
What the flock?
Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I think next week when Trump gets inaugurated, he's going to fix that on day one. That's his day one priority.
He's going to fix StreamYard and all the services?
No, actually, he called me this morning begging for money for his inaugural fund. Yeah, and I told him, I said, first of all, you're barking up the wrong tree, and second of all, if you can take care of this whole streaming issue on day one, he goes, sorry, the best I could do is day two. I can't do day one. Day one, I'm going to be getting rid of all the Negroes and all the Indians and all the Mexicans. So day two, I'll fix StreamYard. That's what he said.
Oh, but the Puerto Ricans are safe. Good. I'm good with that.
Well, they're not safe.
Oh,
you know what? It's the worst Trump impersonation I've ever heard.
I know. I can't only do Trump if I hear him in my head,
right?
And I really try hard not to hear him in my head anymore.
Here's my Trump impersonation.
I will be fair enough to say it's far better than a Trump impersonation I could do, but that's why I don't do them. I wouldn't.
I used to do it, but the one I used to do involved a lot of sniffing because at the time when he talked, all I used to do, he was always doing this. So that was like my karma for him. Whenever I talked, I would do the things and sniff, and I had the voices.
Oh, you're doing Trump?
Well, I'm not doing the accordion Trump. I'm doing the white power Trump.
Oh, speaking of white power, we do have to get to our guest. But I wanted to talk about this piece Hegseth thing. Yeah, it's just a clusterfuck of just nonsense. But the Mark Wayne Mullen thing, you can't make this up. He's saying it's okay because here's what he's saying: not just two wrongs make a right. 1,000 wrongs make a right. So basically the same. Just because he's drunk and he shows up to work drunk and abuses women and cheats on his wife. How many senators are doing that? Everybody's doing that. So we might as well confirm him. It's like, wait a minute. That is the most twisted logic I've ever heard. So you're saying because you have bad apples, let's bring another bad apple in instead of let's clean house and get rid of all the other shitty people that are here. But just to hear that on national television, like not without even winking an eye, who hasn't shown up drunk to cast a vote?
Yeah.
A minute.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that we're not live on Facebook?
No, I did not know that. Could you get us live over there?
I can't do shit on here. I have no permissions to do anything.
No.
You have my permission to speak.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna quickly look at that, and then we'll get to our guest. But
Ron also has permission to speak. He just doesn't use it. It's like Ron has an attorney, and before he opens his mouth, he checks with his attorney. He goes like, "Can I say ball cock? Can I ball cock? You know? Can I say slather that bitch with some Tabasco sauce?
Oh
no?
my God.
No.
you could say it.
I'm just saying he's checking with his attorney.
The problem, I just don't know what it means. I'm not going to mention Facebook right now. Oh yeah, we're live on Facebook. I think it's live on Facebook.
All right, cool.
Yeah, Steven's lying to me again.
I clicked on your page to share it, and it doesn't show you're online. You're live. Yeah.
Don't worry. Hey, in a week, the Village people are going to bring everyone together.
Yes.
Well, I just want to know, why is it fun to stay at the YMCA?
Oh, all the gay sex. Of
course.
I mean, come on.
That's what I thought. That's what you would think. That's why it's fun to stay at the. But then when you see all the MAGA people going, it's fun to stay at the. Wait.
Well, that's why I've been saying we're about to enter the most bisexual time in America's history right now. And all these conservative bros, open your mouth and swallow deep, because there's going to be 4 years of that.
Well, I didn't sleep well last night, and I was looking forward to our guest who's about to come on. But that's not going to help me sleep. That's going to give me nightmares, or even keep me up at night. So
I think it's weird that you're even having dreams about it at all.
Well, You're right. And I do too, and that's what wakes me up in a cold sweat.
Cold sweat, a rock hard erection. Anyways,
Joy John is a certified, board certified physician and practicing sleep specialist with more than 25 years of experience. Yeah, I've been sleeping for 60 years, so I have 60 years experience with sleep.
You also have 60 years of experience waking up as well.
No. Oh,
No.
actually, I have 1 day experience, and it wasn't today. I've he's seen firsthand the struggle that many have with sleep, struggles that people have with sleep, and the challenges that impact their family, including his own. He's here now, and hopefully going to help us figure out our sleep problems. Good morning, Bajoy.
Yeah, Bajoy. Yes.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, sleep is a big problem, and people don't realize how much sleep affects your health. But when you don't have it, you can't do anything, right? So, what are the main culprits when dealing with insomnia or sleep difficulties?
Yeah, in the hustle culture, the problems with the hustle, we are all hustling. Sleep is undervalued. Hey, everybody says, you can sleep when you die, right? But if you go on this path, you're literally going to have granted your wish. So the major problem in today's world is this addiction to our best friend, the electronics, right? So we are compromising. We have to work. We have to take care of all the other stuff. And the extra 2-3 hours, where does this come from? It comes from your sleep. You're compromising your sleep. So that's what's happening. So that's a major problem. The hustle culture and our focus on work, and then the advent of the cell phones and all the technology that is hampering our sleep because we're dedicating a lot of time to it.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't undervalue sleep. The minute I wake up, I'm thinking, when can I take my nap? That's my first thought when I open my eyes. Like, how long to my first nap? That's what I'm thinking.
A true kindergarten syndrome.
Yeah. Part of you're right with the electronics. I feel like this. Maybe the world has changed so much, but I feel like I have to take my cell phone in bed with me because I use it for an alarm. And and instead of having like an alarm on the table or any of that kind of stuff, the cell phone is under my pillow. And then, of course, 2:00 in the morning, Steven is texting me dopey Instagram videos or something, and it wakes up. Yeah, the electronic stuff is definitely a problem. What
I'll talk to you about silence later.
What's your position on things like Ambien or sleeping pills?
Yeah, the thing about the cell phone, most of people use it for alarm. Even I do, but I keep it far away from me so that I'm not tempted to look at 2:00. There's a text message or somebody calling you. So you keep it far away. You walk to that when the alarm goes, and you're ready for the day. So that's what I tell. So the analogy I give people is like, before you enter your bedroom, it's like a TSA screener. If you have any metal, it beeps. So if you're entering the bedroom and if you have your cell phone, just leave it outside. You do the rest of the day. And so, but the closeness to their cell phone, the access, the light from the phone, the messages and the beeps is very, very counterproductive to sleep. So your question on Ambien, I've been using Ambien for about 25 years. So that's one of those medications that's been there. I've been prescribing, not using.
That was what you read my mind. You read my mind.
But it's actually one of the medications. See, before that, it was Valium and all that. So this was a little bit refined, but long-term use is not good for you because the big problem is cognition and memory problems. And of course, people get groggy in the morning. You're supposed to sleep 8 hours, but people get 6 hours and you're still groggy and you wake up and fall, especially sometimes in the middle of the night. And then you have an injury, you fracture your hip or a knee or whatever. And then bad things happen to you. So the answer to your question, Ambien is good for a short period of time, meaning less than 6 months, not for long periods of time.
Wow.
Yeah, you said you said you need 8 hours of sleep. But wouldn't that depend on first, I guess, one, the mental activity that an individual has, because the more mental activity you have going, the more need you have for it to shut down for a quiet time. And also, and some people sleep like 4 hours and then maybe a nap for an hour in the middle of the day, which is more my speed. I'm an afternoon napper, so I'll sleep during the night for 4 hours, nap.
I'm a Matt Nappo.
What
Yeah.
if you bring your phone to bed for photography reasons every night? Does that count?
For many reasons.
I apologize to the children.
So that's a great question. See, there's something everything gets confused right when it enters the media and the press. Some people like you are short sleepers, so those people don't need much sleep, but 99% of all of us need 7 to 8 hours. So the classic example is
So y'all are lazy.
no,
No, I'm just teasing. No, I'm just...
no, you get your enough sleep during that the deep sleep. Elon Musk is the notorious. He thought everybody's like him, so he had his team work to exhaustion because he's a short sleeper. But then he found out not everybody is like him, so he went on national TV and said, "Hey, you guys need to sleep. I'm different." President Trump is another example. So some people are short sleepers. So when it hits the press, everybody says, "Hey, sleep is so overrated. You don't need to sleep." But there are several cycles and stages. Some people hit the genetic lottery because they get the great cycle and stages early on. The sleep within 4 hours, you're compacted. It's like a high intensity interval training. You get everything early and you're done. But majority of people need that 7-8 hours to go through all the cycles and stages of sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that my sleep cycle.
I needed 18 hours sleep when I was a teenager. It's gotten less, but go ahead, GD. You had
Also, I know my sleep pattern is in increments of 9 minutes. So, if I sleep for 18 minutes, there is actually enough time for me to hit a deep REM and come out of it. But if I go 9 minutes, it's about 18 minutes. If I go 9 minutes, I can hit the deep REM, but I have trouble coming out of it. So, if you actually wake me up at 10 minutes into a nap, I'm groggy for about 4 minutes or so because I have to get out of it. But it takes me 9 minutes to hit REM. Bam, and I'm in it.
That just sounded like you made all of that up, and obviously you did.
No, I can actually now I can prove that with statistics.
No.
No,
Have you actually measured it? Just because you see something on the internet doesn't make it.
No, I never saw it on the internet. It was measured.
Actuary.
Yes, thank you. I have an actuary. I have my own personal actuary.
They just speak when they should listen, and that's all they do. What about sleep apnea? Because sleep apnea is a real thing, right? But I think people are diagnosing themselves with this stuff, and there's a couple of parts here. Like everybody thinks they have sleep apnea. If you snore, does that mean you're a sleep apnea person? Because most people I know say they have sleep apnea, but they've never been diagnosed and never gone to a hospital for the testing period that you're supposed to do, like 24 hours or 36 hours in a hospital. What's the deal with sleep apnea?
Correct. Great question. Sleep apnea is a major problem because it affects all parts of our body. The word apnea means to stop breathing. So in the past, you need to go to the hospital. Now, in my practice, at least for the last 10 years, we do home sleep studies. You take the kid home and then you sleep with it. To answer your question, 90% of the people who snore do have sleep apnea. So what is snoring? Snoring is the air going through a narrow passage, right? So when water is going through a pipe and then you narrow the pipe, it creates rumbling. The same thing with the airway. When the airway is narrowed in sleep, it creates the rumbling. The snoring is nothing but the rumbling. So the word sleep apnea, there's a word preceding. It's called obstructive sleep apnea. The obstruction is caused mainly by the back of the throat. The tongue falling back, the big neck, people as they gain weight. And children, it's the tonsils. It's an easy fix. You take that off. But in adults, it's that the back of the throat just collapses and narrows the airway.
Now,
I know when I don't tell people good night anymore. I just tell people what that mouth do.
Two things about the sleep apnea. One is like when I was growing up, tonsils was like the first thing they used to get rid of on kids. It was like they thought it was like totally useless, but it still has a function. It still protects. It's not like the appendix. So that seems extreme to get rid of the tonsils for that. And the
Correct.
other thing is, my first wife used to wake me up in the middle of the night and let me know that I'd stopped breathing. And it turns out that every time I was not breathing in the real world, in the dream world, I was actually underwater holding my breath. And so I learned that whenever, if I was in the dream world holding my breath, that means I stopped breathing in the real world, and I would wake myself up to breathe.
Well, I just think. I'm sorry, doctor. I'll let you answer that. But I think you're interpreting my dream. Somehow you were getting my dream because I was choking you underwater. Is what was happening. My
Then you look great as a mermaid. You make a great mermaid.
So,
What's my tail do?
so the importance of tonsils, the tonsils actually grow large between like 3 to 6 years. That's when the tonsil takes off. It's got this role with immunity because when all the things enter our mouth and throat, the tonsil is a high concentration of the antibodies and the lymphatics, which primes your body. Once the body is primed one time, you don't need it afterwards. Then it becomes big and narrow, big and obstructs and causes narrowing of the airway. So the initial priming that happens between 3 and 4 years, one cycle of priming, that's all its function is, and then after that, the tonsils are not, they are useless.
how prevalent is this problem? I mean, it's really affecting a huge segment of society, or just the four of us and you and your patients? I mean,
You're talking about sleep apnea?
all the sleep, insomnia, whether it's related to apnea or whatever, just the sleep dysfunctional sleep patterns.
Yeah, it's I call it the new pandemic. That's why I wrote my title, Nobody's Sleeping. Most people compromise their sleep. That's called insomnia. That's about 60% of the folks have insomnia. Most of them are not sleeping well. Majority of us are not sleeping well. As regarding sleep apnea, it's about 5%. But I really think it's more than that. The reported statistics is about 5%. But I do believe anybody over 50 years, when there are changes in the hormones, especially in women, estrogen, and men, testosterone, there's probably a high, I would say about 20 to 30% incidence of sleep apnea in folks over 50.
Wow. Because we are in uh, a pattern of, people are addicted to exercises. Well, not everybody, of course. I'm not, but I mean, we have a lot of people doing the exercise stuff. But they are also a lot of the people I know who are gym rats. They
Mhm.
also are suffering from lack of sleep stuff. So the idea that exercise is a cure for insomnia, doesn't seem to ring true with me, because I see a lot of people who live all live all day in the gym, or at least go to the gym every day, spend hours at the gym, and they're still staying up at night. Is exercise a cure?
Correct. Great question. So, sleep is a foundation for fitness and weight loss. So, what happens when you are rested? You actually exercise more. And actually, when you sleep more, you make human growth hormone, which is very important for babies and children. But in adults, that human growth hormone is needed to repair the muscles that you just stretched and worked out in the gym. So, without sleep, working out is not conducive at all. It's counterproductive. So that's why if you look at elite athletes, they all focus on sleep. The top of the great athletes. But the average ones, they don't know the importance. So the great athletes and the people who really work out, all of them prioritize sleep than anything else.
But
The
also with the great athletes, though, they also usually have to have a great mind to go with it. And without good sleep, your mind is not going to be as sharp anyway.
Correct.
Yeah,
The reaction time is not great. So when you sleep well, you're more focused and you're able to,
yeah.
perform better.
The mattress industry has everybody claims to have sleep number 5 and all these mattresses that are supposed to design, but not one size fits all, right? But there are people, I guess, capitalizing on this new pandemic, that as you call it. But is there anything to that, and how do we know? How do people know about bedding and getting the right bedding and finding a comfortable bed that serves sleep? Anything to that, or is it you really have to go and find what's right for you? It's like not one size fits all.
Yeah. Sleep problems are within, you have obstruction in the back of the throat because of the weight and the narrowing, and then your mind is racing, so that's why you don't sleep well. So that's insomnia. So sleep problems are within. The mattress industry is trying to capitalize by solving it from the outside, meaning, hey, you position your neck like this, you position so actually, people spend a lot of money and then they lay in bed thinking about the money they spent, and it's not helping them, right? The mattress helps you if you have pain. If you have neck pain, back pain, leg pain, some of the comfortable mattresses helps to relieve pain. Pain also affects sleep. So the answer to the question, mattress industry is great. It helps with relieving pain and help you to sleep better. And sometimes the temperature control also helps because melatonin, the hormone that puts us to sleep, is secreted in darkness and colder temperature, and the temperature control matters are helpful. So for controlling pain and controlling temperature, they're great. But anything else to solve your sleep problem, or whether it's insomnia or sleep apnea, the mattress industry is not helpful.
Are naps important? Because you heard GD say he's a napper. I'm a nappo, but I've always been a napper my entire life, and I feel like if I don't get my nap in, I'm really angry. I mean, it messes me up for the day.
Correct.
Uh,
Naps are great. So the key here is you have to nap about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, because if you nap more than that, that means you have a sleep deprivation. You are a sleep debt. That's why you're taking a nap. Just like Fenderson said, he wakes up in the middle of the nap. You wake up from REM sleep, you are in a bad mood. So that's why to go into REM, truly REM, if you measure your brain, it takes 90 minutes to get into REM. So nobody can get into RAM very early on because you have to measure brain waves. All the gadgets that we do are movements; they are not very accurate. So if you go into REM very quickly, that's a pathological condition called narcolepsy. So if you lay in bed at night, it takes 90 minutes to get into REM sleep. And that's why even naps you should restrict to 45 minutes. If you go into sleep at 90, you might enter REM sleep, and then you become very tired. So naps are great. It's one of those, your body, what happens is the moment you're waking up, there's chemical to put you to sleep, and then this is counteracted by the sound and the activity. But right around 2 o'clock, your body is in a lull. The sun's down, the environmental cues are lower, and the chemical that has put us to sleep is becoming higher. That's a perfect time to nap. I do take a nap. I encourage all over the world, everybody stops for a nap. There's siesta, there's tea time, except here we push ourselves. So that's why we never go to any meetings at 2 o'clock, because nothing happens because your body's tired. I'm a strong proponent of nap. Is actually the recent study shows that when you nap, your brain volume actually increase. So I'm a huge proponent of nap. I take naps, and I encourage everybody to take a nap.
Yeah, my problem is I always intend to take a 45-minute nap, and then you know what, another half hour, and then another half hour, and then before you know it, I slept 4 hours during the day, and then can't sleep at night. And
Correct. That's the problem.
yeah,
So if you have a sleep problem like insomnia, I don't recommend napping. On a person who's got good sleep, I recommend napping. But somebody like you, so you're creating this vicious cycle. You're relieving your sleep pressure and your sleep deprivation by taking a nap. Then you're not able to sleep at night. That's actually counterproductive for you.
right. What about coffee addiction? Because listen, when I was young, I used to drink coffee from the moment I woke up until midnight, and would have no problem sleeping even on a full head of coffee. But now I have one cup of coffee in the morning. It lasts this entire show, which is 2.5 hours generally every morning. I don't have coffee after that, but I feel like diet in general, even besides the coffee, there's a lot of stimulants in this stuff that we're taking in, right? And
Correct.
that's a problem.
So the chemical that puts us to sleep is called adenosine, and caffeine blocks adenosine. That's why caffeine is it works in us. So all of us, the moment we're waking up, this chemical to put us to sleep is building up, and caffeine counteracts it. That's how caffeine works. So if you're taking caffeine to stay awake, that means you have a sleep debt. You need to look into it. But if you're enjoying coffee for the taste of it, for the health benefits, that's great. Coffee is actually a great medication. Providers take it in limited quantities.
Yeah,
Now, caffeine does not keep me awake. I can drink caffeine and go right to sleep. Now, I will have active dreams if I have too much
try this.
caffeine, but I
Try
will
it.
go. I'm sorry.
Try this.
What?
It's good and strong. Go ahead. Try it.
It doesn't matter. I've even used a no dose when back in college days,
Wow.
and I did the no dose, and I still doze. It was just doze.
Uh,
There was no no.
um, Dr. John, do you ever recommend cannabis, and or do you have any position on? Because if you go to the medical dispensary and you say you have this insomnia, you're sure in. They're basically gonna. If you say I have a hangnail, they'll give you a medical card. But they are a lot of people are using cannabis for sleep. Is that something you recommend or not?
Yeah, cannabis is terrible for sleep. It affects your REM sleep. It affects your quality of sleep. But cannabis helps with anxiety, right? So if you're sleeping better on cannabis, that only tells that you have an anxiety problem, which helps to calm your nerves and helps you to sleep. Because when you're anxious, you don't sleep, and then when you don't sleep, you get anxious. So per se, if a normal person is going to take cannabis to help or THC, you're not going to sleep. It's going to affect your sleep. But a person who's got anxiety takes cannabis, they're going to sleep better because it helps with anxiety. So cannabis helps by controlling your anxiety and improving sleep, not sleep per se.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, when you wrote this book,
Mhm.
the more boring the book is, the quicker I'm going to fall asleep. Did you write this book? So if you write this book to be compelling, it's going to keep me up. If you purposely write it to be boring, you've cured my sleep problem. Did that occur to you at all in writing the book?
So that's a running joke. I tell people, "Hey, read my book, you'll fall asleep." So it depends on how you are. So I've given the whole thing gamut of sleep and the strategies to help sleep better. So if you're sleep deprived and you read the book, you're going to go to sleep.
Tell me about what we can expect in the book. I mean, do you cover all these things like diet, exercise, medications, all that kind of stuff? I don't know if this is like an accurate picture because people just have illustrations of the book, and that's what it might be. But it doesn't seem thick enough to cover all the things we've already talked about on this.
Yes. So what I did. There's no comprehensive book for the whole family. So I have chapters for children, I have chapter for teenagers, I have chapter for older adults, I have a chapter for women, and I even have a chapter for sex, and of course mental health and weight. So I've divided into multiple chapters to make it street worthy and readable. So everything we spoke about and more is in my book.
Sleepfixacademy.com, which is scrolling across the bottom, which is and the link is in the description. There's a test, a quiz on there. What is that all about? Is that like, because I'm very wary of self-diagnosis, and I'm a kind of guy who will take that test and then diagnose myself. That's probably not a good thing, is it?
Yes, it's just a rough screener to tell where you are. Well, I think if you can spend about 10
I'm
15
batshit
seconds.
crazy. That's where I am.
That won't tell you. It'll only say you whether you have a sleep problem. So, on my website, I have several, yeah, like my podcasts and all this stuff, and I even have a course to take if people want. They don't have time to go see a doctor and fix their sleep, so you can do it online. I have my interview with the Titans, the football team here, to help them win. We always play our games in noontime, and then by 2 o'clock you're sleepy. And I did my data, and we always fail in the third quarter. I also know when teams are traveling, when they play the night games, I know which team is going to win because it depends upon your circadian rhythm. So even the NFC Championship last time, the Lions lost because they played, it was 10 o'clock their time. So you can do a lot of things by just to adjust your sleep and the value that adds to us.
Do a lot of these problems start in youth? Like, because I heard you say before, children and stuff, and I generally think, well, if you're a kid, you probably should be having no problems with sleep. But is that where a lot of our problems start in getting bad habits, sleep habits?
So children should be the sound sleepers, right? So when your child, I'm talking about pre-college, because once you go to college your sleep is completely whacked. So if your child, the young child at home, as parents and grandparents, if their child have a problem with sleeping, that's the tip of the iceberg. There's many reasons beneath it. Most common is anxiety or depression. You have to pull the child and stop whatever they're doing to address that. So it's a major problem. That's why I go into schools and speak about the kids with a lot of mental problems, suicide, because the first thing, the only thing they can express to the parents is, I'm not sleeping. Or the parents see their child is not sleeping. There's a major problem. So it's actually a clue for all of us that when your child is not sleeping, we need to pull aside and see why the child's not sleeping. And of course, the advent of phones and the messages and the hate and all that, it provokes anxiety, and the kids are not sleeping, and also they are on the phone later, and your clock shifted. So there's two parts to it. Yeah, one part is underlying mental issues like anxiety, depression, preventing them from sleeping, and then excessive use of phone, which also compromises the sleep. So it's a warning sign if the child's not sleeping.
Yeah, I remember, and this is amazing that I can even remember. But before, when I was a teenager, sleep was even before drugs and all and alcohol and all this stuff. So waking up from as a teenager was extremely. It like I wanted to sleep all day, even if I got a good 8 hours, 10 hours sleep. The waking up was extremely difficult process for me, and nobody wake me up. I have to wake up naturally on my own. It was, or else I'm going to be a bear, and not the
Right.
kind of bear that Stephen likes the most.
Teenagers and small babies and they need a lot of sleep. Teenagers need about 10 hours of sleep, but 90% of the teenagers are going with 6 or less hours of sleep. So it's a major sleep deprivation. Every we are in a sleep deprived society, and imagine the accidents and the all the other things that are happening to all of us. So I think a lot of things can be prevented if you sleep better.
Okay, since you brought it up, and I heard you bring it up, I heard you. Everybody heard you. You were talking about daylight savings time, and
Correct.
and how the effect it has on sleep cycles, the turning time forward, turning back.
Mhm.
At, if you were in charge of the government, would you get rid of daylight savings time? And which time would you try to save? More daylight or more nighttime, so that people work more or sleep more?
Correct. I would just say, we are a huge proponent of one fixed time, because especially when you lose time, in spring, around that time, we have many accidents, people, children having accidents, and also heart attacks, and a lot of a higher incidence of a heart attack in spring, because when you change the cycle, especially in REM sleep or REM sleep, your heart goes all out of whack, and a lot of arrhythmias and those things happen. So I'm a huge fan. We proposed to our state legislature to make it one time, but this is controlled by the marketing, because more sales happening, and I don't think we'll ever, the economics triumphs the health benefits. So I don't think we'll ever see a change
We
at
did see
all.
a change.
Yeah, but if
During
you
the
were
70s, we went to standardized daylight savings time, but the reason they changed it back was because kids were going to school bus stops in the middle of the night. It was still dark out. That's it. But we did it for like 2 years, I think, in the Carter administration, if I remember correctly. Sorry, GD, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna. I was just gonna say. The question is, if you were in charge of the government, I mean, you said you would get rid of it, get rid of daylight savings time, if I understand you correctly. But would you lean toward having more daylight or more nighttime?
I probably will stay with the more daylight, because you can get more done. And actually, to have somewhere in between is the real answer is somewhere in between. But given one choice, I would stick to more daylight time.
Well, all that is really we're just manipulating the clock. You're just telling yourself, because nothing really changes except your mindset about what time it is. You're just calling 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in either one of those situations. But I definitely agree that we should standardize it and just keep it the same all year round.
Yeah, when you change, the big impact happens in the first few days. Your body takes a few days to adjust. So, like if you travel to Europe, if you lose 8 hours, it will take eight. Our body, human clock is. We have a clock within ourselves. We have like a 24 hours and a 30-second different clock within ourselves. So it takes. We will only change 1 hour per day. So it'll take like a one day or 2 days to adjust to this time. So in that time is when all the accidents and the health problems happen.
Would you say get televisions out of the bedroom?
Absolutely. I still remember the day it was the election and the Al Gore and the Bush election. The TV was next to me, and I was like turning on, turning off, turning off. I was in the middle of the sleep fellowship. I didn't sleep well. Then when I learned the impact that can happen on you, so I've not had my TV since then in my bedroom, and I recommend highly, because nothing, all the news is nothing good you see on TV. The negative news when you lay in bed, it's going to provoke your thoughts. Plus, the light from the TV is telling you, "Hey, it's still daytime." So I'm a huge. I mean, I'm not against watching TV, but I would not watch it in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Always watch your TV outside.
No,
Well,
I
if
do not.
you're watching cable news at night in your bed, you have bigger problems going on in your life. And
Ron is
really,
our relationship expert,
yeah,
and
and really, if someone is doing that, isn't that indicative of a bigger issue that they're suffering?
yeah.
Correct. But you'll be surprised how many people do that, though. Everybody, the people come to me, and that's the first thing I tell, to take control and take it outside the bedroom. You will be surprised how many people do that. A lot of people are in bed watching TV.
Now
Yeah.
I know before I got married to my first wife, I did not have a television in my bedroom. It was just my alarm clock, my bed furniture, stuff like that. Once I got married to my first wife, and I realized she was trying to kill me in my sleep, I had to have the TV on so I'd stay awake. Because if I went to sleep, she was gonna,
Oh
I'd
my
have
God.
permanent apnea. I think it's called permanent apnea when somebody smothers you with the pillow and you can't breathe for the rest of your life.
No, that's bitch apnea.
It's called
Oh.
match visiting. Wow. One of the I think significant changes in cable in the television is before cable television, you used to television would go off at night and they'd play the Star Spangled Banner at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You're done, and then that was your get up, turn off the TV, because you didn't even have a remote in those days. You had to get out of bed, turn it off, and then you could get some good.
Ew! You had to touch your TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I had to admit, if I fell asleep doing the, that's when I had my most vivid dreams. And I'd wake up and I'd tell my mother about these new toys I'd seen on television. And it wasn't because the TV was off. I just dreamt these things and I thought I saw them on television. And I'd send my mother to the store looking for these new toys that I'd invented in my sleep.
So now, do you work with people online? Do people actually have to come into your office? Do you do like Zoom uh, consultations?
So I'm in the state of Tennessee. I'm in Nashville. So people in Tennessee are free to come, or people, but they have to come and see me because of the license and state regulations. So they have to come. But that's why to help more people, I have this self-help course online. If you have sleep problems, you can just take that or read my book.
You a big country music fan?
Yeah. I mean, I used to take care of a lot of the country music stars. Yeah, I was. My background is pulmonary, so I did take care of a lot of. I was a doctor to many of the stars in Nashville. Yes.
Well, very cool. I hope you know what I think it is a chronic situation where everybody I talk to anyway. I don't think I've talked to anybody who hasn't had occasional sleep problems, and a lot of people have it consistently throughout their life. I think it's going to get worse. So I hope you're doing something that can make a difference for people. I definitely. One of my biggest complaints daily is that I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't sometimes any sleep, just up all night. I don't know if there's a solution, but I definitely think I will check the book out, and I hope other people do too. Thanks for being here, and hopefully we made a difference or will make a difference for some people. Any final thoughts before we say goodbye here?
Yeah, sleep is a superpower. We have it, but nobody speaks about it. The value that you can unleash by sleeping better. You can be a better human being. You can be a better athlete, better student, better everything, better worker. you're much more happier if you sleep better, because we heal in our sleep, right, Matt? For example, when you have a problem in your life, what do you say? Let's sleep on it. Nobody says let's eat on it or exercise on it. So it's got many powers. So I just want to empower everybody to know the value and pay a little bit more attention to your sleep as you make the new resolution on diet, fitness. Add sleep as a talking point.
We really appreciate you being here. Sleepfixacademy.com, folks. That's where you want to go. Thank you, Dr. Bijoy John.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy talking to you all.
Have a great day. Bye for now. I always say let's drink on it, let's smoke on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a sleep on it kind of guy, but for the purposes of comedy, I'm a drink on it kind of guy.
What on it kind of guy?
Drink on it.
Drink on it. Yeah. You know what? If you're on stage in a place that serves alcohol, you really you got to keep that liquor salesman mentality. This is what's going to get you. I've been saying this to young bands, especially for 30 years now. If you're on stage in a bar, between every song, you got to get people a drink, and the more they drink, the more money will come in over the more you get hired. I think the same is true of comedians. You got to encourage people, even though we don't want to encourage alcoholism outside of the profession. Within those confines of those walls, that's your job. I've always considered myself a liquor salesman who just happens to
you have the right business mindset for bars and stuff. The only thing I worry about is such a litigious society. If I'm on stage encouraging people to drink and drink and drink, and then they leave and they go like, the comedian made me drink, he got me drunk, and now I got arrested in the parking lot.
You're a liquor salesman and a DWI encourager or enabler. That's what you are. Also, a coke salesman on some level too. But hey, it's part of the job. That's all I can say. It's a vocational requirement. Maybe.
Now, the funny thing is, I know more and more comedians or people who think they're comedians who are giving up, who've like joined AA, either formally or informally. They've like, I've got to stop drinking. This life of comedy, and drinking is making me not funny whatever.
Just explain the what is it? The reverse of that. The reverse of that. A lot of people go to AA, think they are now stand-up comedians because you got to give up and speak and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of comedy careers are started at AA meetings. My ex-brother, you remember my ex-brother? He thinks he's a stand-up comedian because he speaks often at rehab meetings, and
he makes them laugh because of his drunken stories.
Yeah. So it works both ways. They come out of comedy and go into AA, and then they see, oh, there's other comedians here who are on their way out of AA to become comedians, and it's just polluting. The problem is this is all contributing to my sleep apnea. That's the problem. All right.
I'll just say,
what time?
Are you seeing that, Ron? Are you seeing more and more comedians that are giving up drinking?
Not really. I don't know. The thing that bothers me about comedians, I'm so tired.
Other than everything.
I'm so tired of just fucking seeing comedians like, I'm on this health kick. I'm working out now. That drives me crazy. It's like I
hate that on general. What?
Yes.
Fuck you, healthy people. What I say.
Well, I don't want to hear about like, oh, I'm in the gym, I'm crushing it.
Living my best life.
Yeah. It's like, this is all you got, the gym in your life? Maybe you need friends.
And drink. Maybe you need Jim and Jack Daniels.
There's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, but like taking everyone else or thinking everyone else cares about your fucking fitness journey, go fuck yourself.
That's right. And Ron seems to really care about people's relationship, sexual problems in the bedroom, and he's here for advice for people who need advice. I think you missed your calling in life. I think you would make a great sex therapist. people coming to you, and you could just say turn off the cable news and all that kind of stuff. I appreciate it.
Stuff I can hear Ron saying now. Look, excuse me, sir. I'm going to show your wife how she should be filleting you. Okay, just sit back. Sit back. It's just a demonstration. It doesn't mean anything
That
to
way
me.
gives the wife a demonstration. This is how you suck his cock.
Yeah, and Ron be saying this does not mean anything to me. Calm down, okay? I'm
I
just
would
letting her.
actually, I would love to start a very sex positive podcast. I have thought about it.
Let's. I'll do the marketing for it if you want to do it. But I don't know if I had a little cock apnea there.
What is sex positive? Is that like transmitting diseases and everybody catches it? What's sex positive?
No, it's like positive and good talk about sex in any manner.
Right.
Cool.
But you're encouraging all of America to go bisexual, which is I'm not down with that whole.
Well, no, I'm just saying with this, we're about to make a very bisexual turn in this country. I mean, the country's always been bi. We haven't been a gay country, so take it easy, you fucking conservatives out there. The country identifies more as they, because between all the sports like pro wrestling and Kid Rock, I mean, we lean very bi.
Kid Rock.
Well, I mean, as far back as I can remember, someone has always said they are out to get us, and now that they are here, I think that we just need to accept them.
I mean, you got a guy that's coming in to be president, and he does a dance where he's jerking off 2 men at once. How bisexual is that? It's like, we get it. You love loads. It's okay.
I turned on Twitter this morning and I thought Arnold Palmer was trending, but Amanda Palmer was trending. But I was like, what the hell? Is he still?
You want a man to what?
Amanda
Palmer.
I want a man to palm her.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay, just making sure it's a. That's very.
But I do. I get really sad when I drive past anyone's house at night and like they're in their living room and it's like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you see like cable news on. I see that. It's like, well, that relationship died years ago. Why are they even still together?
But what if their kink is like is CNN?
No, I think
you mean like both of them like Cooper? Like the man and the woman both like Anderson Cooper?
Yeah, like they're both into Anderson Cooper because, Anderson Cooper's gay and he likes dudes, but chicks find him hot still. So, yeah, it's possible.
I know my mom did. My mom, oh my God. My mom used to love to watch Anderson Cooper on CNN. And then I was at her house once and CNN came on, Anderson Cooper. And my mother got up and she looked at me and she goes, turn that off. And I said, what? She goes, turn it off. I can't stand to watch it now that I know he's gay. I'm like, it's like he hurt her personally with his decision.
I mean, look at Sean Hannity. He really projects a very bisexual man because he's trying so hard all the time to claim that he's tough. It's like, what are you hiding? We get it. You probably like to have someone put their balls on your chin when you're powerlifting, but it's okay, Sean.
Balls on the chin.
Now, is that cock on the nose or cock on the neck?
It probably just depends on how he's spotting them.
Oh, okay.
He's probably been kicked out of several gyms.
Salad or a tube steak.
Yeah, he just when someone's sitting there lifting, he gets over them in the front instead of being behind the bar.
Yeah,
lift it.
I think I have to play some news. Or did I even load up the news? I probably didn't.
This morning you didn't. You didn't have time.
I did, but you know what? Then I reset the modem and I came back and it wasn't here. I'll do this really quick though.
You know what? We need that. We need a. I wish we could play drops because we just need that line. There's lines from Ghostbusters. End of the world.
Cats and dogs.
Yeah, cats and dogs living forever. The end of the world as we know it.
Yeah, REM, and that's REM sleep. I think it's loading up. We think we got news coming. Do we have any showbiz for today, Ron? Or no?
Yeah, I do have some. Yeah, I've had it for a couple of days now.
Oh, you've been holding it like a big bowel movement. You've been holding for a couple of
Blue
days.
balls.
Hey,
He's
last
got-
night my wife played pool and it went till like fucking 12:30 last night. I can't tell you how many times I was hoping for an arsonist to come in and light that place on fire so we could leave.
Then she needs to play in the LA leagues.
Fuck, news is not loading. Fuck them. Oh, it's loaded. Now, as soon as I said that, all right, we'll do news and then we'll come back to the show.
This is News in 60 with Alan Edwards.
Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson expressed that there should probably be conditions attached to financial aid for California's wildfire recovery efforts.
My personal opinion is that there ought to be conditions on that aid. We'll see how the broader consensus shapes up, Johnson remarked.
A series of suspected sabotage incidents targeting undersea cables in the Baltic Sea has heightened concerns about a volatile 2025 in NATO's northern regions.
In response, Allied leaders are pledging intensified surveillance.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has summoned state lawmakers for a special session aimed at implementing President-elect Donald Trump's proposed immigration policies.
Trump's incoming administration is preparing more than 100 executive orders to take immediate action on border security, deportations, and other key issues.
President Joe Biden approved new student loan relief measures benefiting over 150,000 borrowers.
According to Biden, the relief will assist 85,000 borrowers.
That's not showbiz.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana, here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz.
Brought to you by Minucci's. Ladies and gentlemen, eat at Minucci's. Or do something at Minucci's.
Yeah, of course. It's Showbiz, and it is presented by Eat at Minucci's. Today is Wednesday. Today is Discarded Wing Day. So any wings from last night with meat on it, come in. You can get wings for a paltry 7 cents each. So
Is there any leftover dip also? You know, the people who dip like only used half their blue cheese.
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, GD. What makes Minucci's fun is that all of that leftover ranch gets poured into one giant bucket that everyone eats out of.
Minucci's.
Yeah.
Bring your family.
It's finger looking good. Oh.
So this happened a few days ago. A notable death. Sam Moore of Sam and Dave fame died. He was 89 years old. He died of complications from surgery. That's what caused him to die.
Well, you should have had a more simplified surgery.
Yeah, maybe.
It was too complicated.
Now, for some people probably don't know Sam and Dave out there.
Alina Haba knows.
What's that?
Alina Haba knows. Hold on, I'm coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. So this is some of the lineup for Trump's inauguration. The now straight village people, sure, if you believe that. The terrible Lee Greenwood and Carrie, I desperately need the attention and want the money. Underwood will be there.
It doesn't surprise me, Carrie Underwood. She's in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Lee Greenwood, it surprises me that he's still alive. He was old when I was a kid. Jesus.
Isn't he the one that has the Bible with Trump?
Yeah, he's got a Bible thing. But he was also I'm proud to be an American. But he was doing that. He was doing that for Reagan's inauguration, and he was an old man. Oh, he was an old man to me then because I was a kid. But
so that's not a picture that we're looking at.
That's got to be an old picture, right?
Yeah. Well, I think this one is fairly recent of Lee Greenwood.
I guess
that's what I thought he looked like now. I was looking at the picture because I don't really know much about him. But I see an occasional picture. I don't know anything. That the Bible and the Proud to Be an American, which I keep forgetting that's a song.
Yeah, I mean, from the dyed hair, and you can see that he's got some work done. Oh my God! Speaking of dyed hair and musicians, apparently Ringo Starr has put out a new album, and Ringo is in his 80s, and I've seen a picture of, or he's on video, and he has all his hair dyed jet black, and he looks so bizarre.
It looks
Is he,
strange.
is he still trying to wear his Beatle haircut with the little mop crop?
No,
he's got a cowboy hat now.
Did he? He's also color because he's got a beard too. He's coloring the beard black.
Yes, yeah, and it just looks so bizarre because it's like, dude, everyone knows you're in your 80s. It's okay that you have some gray.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife won't give me permission to dye my hair and beard.
So I just wonder when he gets naked, it's all black hair until you get down to his bush and it's
and his nose clippings, and his ears.
How long does it take you every morning to put all that shoe polish on your face so you could be the black guy on this program?
Well, that's what do they call it when it's not true?
Oh,
I don't wake up and put shoe polish on my face. I do it before I go to bed so it has time to dry.
Okay.
Yeah, GD's got pillow money. He just throws away pillows every day.
That's right.
He's a My Pillow case guy.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So over this past weekend, Den of Thieves beat out the Loin King, and that's very surprising, actually, that this movie, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera, is actually doing pretty well. So somebody was right to make a sequel, I guess.
Right. What's it about?
A Den of Thieves.
All right. Well, so it's basically my family story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they go to eat lunch at Pantera Bread.
Yeah. So with the California fires out in Hollywood, a lot of productions now are going to be delayed. There's talk that maybe even push back a year or two, depending on. Me and Steven touched on this a little bit last night. Fallout is one of the shows affected. Hacks and a few others. That list keeps growing and growing. So
is it true that they're going to make a sequel? Are they going to make a what is it when they make a series from a movie? Whatever they're going to do that with the Towering Inferno. Now that they have all this stunt fire that they have to use up.
Is Gilbert Gottfried here? Too soon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So if you're waiting on your favorite show, you might want to check because they may get
making jokes while the towers were on fire. You wait until they fall down, and then you're allowed to make jokes.
I started making jokes as soon as I saw people on their way down from the building, from the top floors.
Too soon. Okay.
All right. So speaking of the fires, Justina Bateman has
called. Not Justina. It's Justine.
Yeah, whatever. She has called the Royals disaster tourist because the Royals, Harry and what's her name, Meghan Markle, have been touring Hollywood and talking about shit. And she's a lifelong LA resident, and she's just calling them disaster tourists.
Is that guy like Jackie Gleason's grandson?
It definitely looks like Jackie, doesn't he?
Yeah, it looks like Jackie Gleason's grandson or something. What do you think of the fires? How sweet it is!
Yeah, hey, Ralph. Yeah, he's got the moves like Cramden.
Hey, Ralphie boy, look at the fire outside, Ralphie boy.
This guy here is going to star in the reboot of The Toy.
I gotta get Norton. I think the toys are burning outside. God.
Yeah, so, Steven, do you know of the movie The Toy?
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, you want to talk about a movie that would never get made right again, especially now, would be The Toy.
Well, they shouldn't have made it. They shouldn't have made it the first time.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think even Pryor said he did not like that movie.
Oh, no, he didn't. He did not like that movie.
I remember of the movie, but I don't remember actually the story or any of it. I guess it was just that bad.
It is on YouTube for free. Go fucking watch it because it is definitely a snapshot in time, and between the racism that's addressed in it, the misogyny, it's pure 80s cinema.
Oh, I love it. You spoke the words that matter most to me: misogyny and racism. Those are my things.
Yeah, if you want to,
it's like a time capsule. It's not a documentary, but it's like a time capsule of a documentary.
Yes, and there are uncomfortable scenes in that, and it's so
Now
fucking
I'm
weird.
compelled. I'm compelled to go see it, or I'll go out watch it find it on YouTube.
You know,
You've never seen
another
it, Matt?
movie. You know, another movie that's creepy now that may not have been creepy when they first made it was Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby. Because
Oh my god!
at the time they made it, it was just a bad movie. But now that you know about Bill Cosby, it's just creepy too.
Like when they made that movie, well, Cramden was probably Cramden. Gleason was probably hungry for money. I'm not sure what. Maybe his coke habit was that much that he had to make it. I don't know, but
Maybe they may have thrown a bunch of money at Pryor, and he's like, "Fuck, I'll do it, man."
Was that around the same time that Pryor did the Superman movies also? Because Pryor did a bunch of bad movies like in a row.
Right.
I mean, he did Silver Streak was good, but I think somewhere in there he did like the Superman 4, I think, was it Quest for Peace or
I think the Silver Streak movies were terrible too. I mean, I people liked him and Gene Wilder together, but I think those were terrible.
And there was also he did another one called was Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Gene Wilder.
Yeah, that was like their last outing together, I believe.
Yeah.
And that one, I actually seen that movie in the movie theaters. I think someone took me to see that.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. Pryor's. His filmography was here, but let's see. Where the fuck is it? Yeah. Now this.
Now, can you blame that on Talk Labs or Streamlabs or Talk Studio or whatever the hell this is? You can blame.
Nah, this is IMDb on this one. Everyone knows about the shittiness. All right. Pryor's first movie was
Which Way Is Up?
No, he actually starred in the Wild Wild West TV series in 1966.
Wow.
That's his first credit.
I gotta find that. See what his role was in the Wild Wild West. That was a weird show. It was like mixing like old Western with modern sci-fi weirdness. It was a strange concept.
He was also in 1971. He was on the Partridge Family for one episode.
Holy crap!
Let's see. Yeah. 1974, he was in a movie called Uptown Saturday Night. He was in Car Wash in 1976. He was in The Wiz in 1978. He was in the Muppet Movie. Stir Crazy was 1980. Then Bustin' Loose. Here we go. Stir Crazy, Bustin' Loose. 1982 is Some Kind of Hero. 1982 is The Toy. 1983, Superman 3.
Wow.
Brewster's Millions came out in 1985. JoJo Dancer. Then you got See No Evil, Hear No Evil, 1989. Then Harlem Nights in 89 as well.
I think did we miss all the ones that were his movies? I didn't hear any. I know.
No, I did. I get Bustin' Loose, JoJo Dancer. Those were his movies.
Was Which Way Is Up? Was Which Way Is Up one of his, or is that he just a co-star?
I don't know.
Movie.
I don't see that one. Oh wait, Which Way Is Up? It looks like that it was not his movie, or was it? Or maybe it was.
Yeah, that's the one.
He's in it, but they don't really list him as like the star. Maybe he was getting some traction, and I don't know. This is 1977. Is Which Way Is Up?
Yeah, that was his movie because it was all about him. I mean, he was the main character in it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. Because he plays like 3 different characters.
Yeah.
Okay, now Ron, I'm looking at a list here. It says top 15 Richard Pryor films. Okay, I'm just going to read the top 4 for you. Okay. Number 5, Brewster's Millions. Number 4, Silver Streak. Number 3, JoJo Dancer. Number 1, Stir Crazy. Oh, did I skip number 2?
Yeah.
The Toy.
They all suck. Every one of those movies sucks.
Go watch The Toy, Matt. Go watch The Toy.
Well, I know. Definitely will. But it will still suck, but it will be entertaining to me for different reasons. But still a sucky movie.
And speaking of Meghan Markle, she has postponed her Netflix series premiere. you've seen this from other celebrities too now with the fires. I know like Tommy Lee was out there yelling at people like, how can you promote your fucking albums right now and shit like that. So Black Panther is coming back. There are rumors that they're going to reboot the character in the Fantastic Four movie, which makes sense. That's how they're going to backdoor their way into it.
Wow.
And speaking of comic book characters, this ongoing Blake Lively and Justin Baldini, Ryan Reynolds, there's speculation that Nice Pool was based on Justin Baldini. And now Justin's lawyers have asked Disney to keep all paperwork and notes about the Nice Pool character to possibly use in court.
Wow.
Yeah, so this saga is getting bigger and bigger, and
the dude was a fucking creep to Ryan Reynolds' wife. He's lucky that's all that happened to him.
Yeah, I know. And
Really?
Everyone hated Nice Pool in the movie.
I know. We were all excited to watch his head get blown off. Every one of us was.
I like the twist of the fact when he kills him, he goes, "You can regenerate."
And Bill Maher is not leaving Real Time.
Why?
I know this makes a lot of you sad, but
Can he stay in the past instead?
yeah, he's sticking around for the next Trump term. So,
but he did stop doing stand up, right? He did. Stop.
No, he still does stand up.
I thought he was like in his last throes of stand up.
No, he works like very.
That's his alter ego when he goes out as Ellen.
Yeah, he works a few dates a year. He makes a bunch of money. He's in a good spot. And Steven sent me this as well, and I did see this. So Shane Gillis recently performed in San Antonio and broke the record at that stadium that was originally set by Chappelle. He beat him by like 300 to 400 people.
Wow.
It's yeah.
So
he's making some cash and enjoy the suffering, everybody.
I think Chappelle actually had more people, but because his audience was black, they only counted 3/5 of them.
The lights were down low, so you couldn't see a lot of them.
That's right. And also, they showed up late, so they didn't count them after 8:15.
All right. Now that we've covered the racist part of the program, we can move on to the anti-Semitic part of the program.
The Jewish space lasers starting fires in LA.
Now, I just want to say that Ron blew a chance to say hilarious in his showbiz report today. He had an opportunity to say hilarious, but
I can say that for tomorrow.
Yeah, save it for tomorrow.
Yeah, you don't want to use that up too many times in 1 week.
I thought we just wanted to keep on saying hilarious constantly on this program.
I think the word of the day is actuary.
No, that was yesterday.
Oh, yesterday's word.
I forgot to use my calendar. Can we move on to the next segment?
Yes.
All right.
Actually, we can, yeah.
Ronnie Robbins is with us. Ronnie Robbins is a debut novelist. Her debut novel, Hands of Gold, One Man's Quest to Find the Silver Lining in Misfortune, is the winner of the 2023 International Book Awards and 2023 Global Book Awards. She's here now to tell us about the book and say hello to Ronnie Robbins. Ronnie, welcome.
I thought I might be on the wrong show for a few minutes.
Yeah, well, I think I'm on the wrong show constantly every day, so I understand. No, we're
talking movies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to fit in here.
We talk movies, politics, comedy, music. We had the first guest on this morning was a sleep expert, a doctor who has written a book, Nobody's Sleeping. So we talk about everything here. It's a variety show.
We talk everything except for to each other. We talk over each other, about each other, around each other, but not to each other.
I hear that. I was like shocked. I was like, what am I in for here?
Yeah, and you wouldn't be the first person who said that. We've had several guests run away like when they hear this stuff. You got me up singing a song called "Band of Gold" from the 1970s with the novel "Hands of Gold."
Right.
It's got that song in my head. Thank you very much.
Okay. Isn't that about marriage?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about the book.
So, my grandfather left cassette tapes of his life, his adventures, and his near death experiences in Europe and America. And I use those to craft a novel. I'm a journalist for some 36 years now. So I had the skills to do that. He was told he was terminal with tuberculosis at 26, but lived till 86. He was a clinical trial patient for streptomycin, which is still used today. TB is the largest infectious disease killer in the world. And his participation saved his lives and countless others. He was involved in a workplace shooting spree. He had what we say chutzpah. He had the courage to stand up to a gunman. These things happen in the world today. He was a man of fine culture, so he enjoyed all the music and radio, and it was the golden age of radio and TV back then. So it's all just starting, what you all were talking about previously. But he lost most of his family in the Holocaust, but he maintained a real love of life and an understanding of the blessings that we enjoy here in America versus what he was dealing with in Europe. So much of much of this is repetition of what's going on in the world today with wars in Israel and also in Ukraine, Russia. So some of the same issues that they dealt with back when, they deal with today. We deal with today.
We talk about never forgetting, but it's been less than 100 years. It seems like we've forgotten how bad Nazism could be. I mean, people don't take it serious because if you bring that stuff up, people, you're overreacting. You're overreacting. But there are people, not many people who actually lived through it who are still alive, but there are enough people who were close enough to it that do remember and can talk about it. It just seems very weird. We've forgotten.
Yeah, but I just changed your whole happy mood. So I will bring some humor to it by saying that, in the book, my grandmother said to my grandfather, tie up loose ends and meet me in heaven. That's not the funny part. But he said, after 60 years of marriage, you do what you're told if you know what's good for you. So, he had some of that, also, just my son is an actor, I should throw in there. So he's in LA dealing with, he's away from the fires, but he's had some fun on TikTok also in the news. But he's had some fun on creating some of my videos on TikTok, just fun, lively videos on a subject that is a downer, I guess. But it shows life. There's ups and downs in life.
Hopefully there'll be ups. I've been, most of my life has been downs.
Okay.
But,
you maintain the humor of it all. You have to laugh at yourself sometimes.
That's why I have
right?
them here to make me laugh.
Oh, okay.
They fail every day. They fail at it. Now, Richard Dreyfuss, when he was talking about when he got his first serious film after American Graffiti, he won an Oscar for. I think it was The Apprenticeship of Judy Kravitz. He won an Oscar for it, and he said when they called his name, too soon. The first novel winning all these awards, is that a good thing, or does it set the bar too high for you?
No, I mean, it's nice to be recognized and an acknowledgement that the book is well written. It doesn't mean that your sales will take off, but
you're now to kind of best that and get more. The next book has to do better, more awards, that kind of thing.
Maybe I am starting on a novel based on my dad's life. He was a Jewish blacksmith, which is probably pretty rare, and developed a business.
A black Jewish Smith.
No, a white Jewish smith. Okay, blacksmith, right? Yeah. So it's not he made things out of metal. So and he also was involved in the Apollo space launches. He worked with the astronauts and trained them as an engineer. So he's got an interesting story too. So I guess since you're all men, I'll say that men have made or males seem to be the dominant character in my novel and in my future novel. So I am fascinated by the lives of men and what they do with their lives.
Out of curiosity, though, do we screw up your book like we screw up the planet?
I mean, this man that I wrote about, based on my grandfather's life, he made a difference in the world. So I can't say that. Did he have male tendencies that got him into trouble? Absolutely. I do describe him as a hustler that you love to hate, because he doesn't always do the right things. He was out for himself a bit, but he changed when he met my grandmother, and they saved each other's lives, I think, because she had to be the breadwinner for the family when women were not breadwinners, and they had a beautiful love story to go through life together in sickness and in health, and what they had to go through with his sickness, but they never lost their love of their family and their commitment to live life to the fullest, and to find the blessings in America that we enjoy today. The book,
one of these damn optimists that I talk to every day. I don't know. It's an optimist. You're seeing the bright side of things, and I struggle with that. But
yeah.
So, talk to me about the challenges of writing a novel, a fictional novel, but you start from basing it on reality. Where is there a challenge in drawing the line and not including too much of the specifics of the real life that it's based on?
So I did base it on the real lives, but I made up all the dialogue. I made up all the interactions between people. The sex is made up. Obviously, they had sex, which doesn't sit right with. Really?
Shoe drop.
Yeah. So there you go. Something to liven up the conversation. So I had to make up some of those scenes, and that caused me some trouble with some family members also.
Did it make you feel voyeuristic that you had to make up scenes about? Did you have a tendency to want to overdo it because you said, well, I don't want to tame it down because I don't know what it's like. But then again,
wait, it's not steamy like X-rated.
But still, it was romantic, but also there was definitely sexual tension and just being together. I took some liberties. So let's just say that. So that's that can be very freeing as a journalist, but that can be also very challenging. I found it very hard to make up dialogue. I'm used to interviewing people for stories. And I should tell you that I've interviewed some celebrities. I interviewed Usher, Hank Aaron, Wolf Blitzer, also Andy Gibb in his trailer in Florida.
Wow. Andy Gibb was the youngest of the B brothers, the Gibb brothers Gibb.
Yes.
Wow.
A few.
You don't appear to be old enough to have, because it seems like 30 or 40 years ago he passed away. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but so it's the
80s.
Historical fiction. Is that the genre it falls into?
It's historical fiction, but some might say it's biography. It tends to be a little memoir, but it's not my story. It's not my life. Historical fiction is what I've labeled it as, but I have had it in biographical literary fiction and Holocaust biography and Holocaust fiction, those categories. It's family saga, it's multicultural fiction. So there's a few labels that you could give it.
Yeah. It's always curious to me with historical fiction because I have a really tough time separating where the history part and the fiction part are. And sometimes I will argue, because I think I've just learned a history lesson, and I will argue facts that are made up because I think I'm reading a history book when it's actually historical fiction, and I'm gravitating towards the fiction part, and I'm arguing like I know it's a fact, like I just read a history book.
He does the same thing as fortune cookies. It's terrible. You can't take him to a good Chinese restaurant anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, and the lines are blurred. So sometimes people ask me questions, and I'm like, I think I might have made that part up.
Well, yeah, I always think there should be a disclaimer, like somewhere along the line, to remind people that this is a fictionalized version based on real life events, and don't be like Matt Napo and just think you're quoting history. It's just now this is based on family stuff. Has your family reacted to this book and given you positive or negative reactions?
So, like I said, there is it's their parents for some of them and their sex. So they might not like that I've portrayed, say, my grandmother in a sexy way. So I would say the majority loved the book and appreciated and learned about my grandfather in ways that they might not have known. But there was one person who was not happy about that I didn't ask permission to use the cassette tapes that were left to the family, and that I took too many liberties with how I portrayed my grandmother as a sexy woman. That's what I will tell you. So I've had cousins come out of the woodworks that I didn't even know about that have come in and reached out and, hi, I'm your cousin. You wrote about my uncle. And we still keep in touch. So that's great. That's really a positive reaction to the book. Of course, my mom is super happy. I'm not sure if she knew that I would write I don't think she thought I would write a book when she gave me cassette tapes that my grandfather left the family. Not everyone got the cassette tapes. I don't know how they landed in my golden hands, but they did. Since I was a journalist, and in the book, my grandfather says if there's somebody in the family that would like to write something about this, so be it. So do something with this, so be it. So maybe he wanted it out there. So that feels good. I was the only journalist at the time, published writer. So, and my writing has been in Huffington Post and Forbes and New York Daily News and WebMD. So, I've been around the block a bit.
I have a question about the tapes. Did you know your grandfather very well before the tapes?
I did.
Okay.
But they don't talk about certain things, and they talk in a language sometimes to prevent the children from hearing what they're talking about, which is Yiddish. So they turned to that when they didn't want us to understand what they were saying. So we'd hear different things and we'd say they're talking about us, or they're secretively talking. We knew it.
Cassette tapes is an unusual medium. Stephen, have you ever seen a cassette tape in your life?
Oh yeah, I'm just old enough to remember having the cassette player in the car.
So, but they didn't come along until probably, I'm thinking like the 70s, maybe late 60s, but probably more in the 70s. So these tapes that he made were not contemporaneous notes. They were memories at the point that he made the tapes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yeah, and it's hard to find a cassette tape.
He transcribed them from 8-track.
I don't think anybody had home 8-track
Yeah,
recorders.
yeah.
Uh,
No, somebody gave my aunt gave him a Panasonic tape recorder and tapes, and he taped. I think there are 5 tapes, double-sided. So like 90 minutes total, and 450. So that's 459 tapes. Wait, I'm not doing my math right.
So was his intent for it to be a memoir, or what was his intent in creating these tapes?
Just that the grandchildren should hear the stories, that he had interesting stories to tell, and my aunt said the grandchildren have been asking about your life. Can now might be a good time to record it. So he recorded it, and it's a lovely thing to listen to your grandfather on a cassette tape, or in any way. So I promote people should leave their legacy behind in that way. They can record themselves.
Grandparents are a treasure that not a lot of people cash in on. 'Cause I grew up spending a lot of time around my maternal grandparents and remember all the stories my grandfather told me. Some things he told me, I wish especially the things he told me about what would happen when I got old. I wish he would have never told me. But I treasure those moments, and I think understanding that is what a valuable resource grandparents can be. I'm not sure that we understand that as a society anymore, and really value the gift that having a grandparent still alive, that you can tap their thoughts and memories. I think that's a really valuable thing. Did you know him? Other than from the tapes, did you know him well?
Yes. We went to New York and had holidays with them. And they had a farm in New Jersey, and we went and were on that farm. And I remember they had a little house in the back, a cute little bitty house. And we went in there, and that was fun. And they had chickens, and so they were out on a farm, and because my grandfather was a farmer in Europe, so I guess he turned back to that and just to get out of the city sometimes. So but yes, I spent time with him. We went to Jewish services together, and we all were together for the Jewish holidays. And I guess they came to visit us when we were on Long Island too. When we go back and forth from, my mother would be cursing she didn't curse, but she was very angry and I didn't see her angry that often, but those potholes in New York, really, she hated driving there and trying to find a parking spot. So, I'm sure she said some words that we hadn't heard her say before. I don't know how bad they were, but
Now, when she did her good cussing, did she do it in English or Yiddish or Hebrew?
No, English. No,
Okay.
we all spoke English. When they came here, they didn't want them speak. They wanted everyone to speak English to blend in. Just that we would not stand out. So my mom, no, she didn't use Yiddish as much as my grandparents did. That was.
I just meant for cussing purposes. That's all.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
I want to know Yiddish curses. I want to. Now you've got me curious. I got to learn all of them.
Well, you can start with putts.
I don't even think that's bad. That's not even the worst of it. The worst of it is when they say, the interpretation would be, may you fall in a hole with your backside upside down or something. I don't know. They had strange, my dad used to say, I need that like a lachen cup, like a hole in the head.
Yeah.
And fadre, if we were giggling, he'd say fadre dinon cup means bother yourself about it. So, there were a few that I had heard. Nothing terrible.
Are you still a working journalist, or have you had a change of career and now full-time novelist, or a kind of calling? You know,
I am a freelance journalist, so I sometimes am very busy and sometimes I'm not very busy. But I write for two publications, which is the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, healthcare. I'm a healthcare reporter, and also for Medscape, which is sister of WebMD. I used to be an editor there, covering med students, residents, mostly those two right now. So.
what are the core differences between being, obviously you're doing a lot more creating and manufacturing the words when you're a novelist, but what's the core differences between what you do as a journalist and the actual writing of a novel? What is a big mindset change?
Well, freedom is the freedom to just write whatever you want when you're writing your own novel. Of course, sticking to the facts because they're believable for me. But writing for a news publication, you totally have to stick to the facts and gain interviews and work that all into a story and have a lot more credibility.
Is it a vocational hazard? Like once you engage in writing a novel and you start to, I don't know, for lack of a better way to describe it, fluff things up or add character and all that kind of stuff, to go back to just being a factual reporter, is that a vocational hazard?
No, because I am always a factual person, and what I do is based on facts. So what's harder is to stick to the word count, I think, to be shorter. With a novel, you can go all out, and you probably should just keep running with your thoughts. But with a news article, you got to be succinct. So,
for most of the novelists that I talk to, the word count is a challenge in the other way, because publishers want 80,000 words, and I've only got 60,000 words. Now I got to add in 20,000 words that mean nothing, but just because of the word count to qualify as a published novel or something like that. So the challenge is the opposite of not being succinct or being too succinct and trying to add in fluff. So it's interesting.
I didn't have that problem because I write long as it is. My problem is writing short. And I wrote for USA Today, Florida Today. I interviewed Andy Gibb for Florida Today. So I think he was windsurfing in Melbourne or along that area where Florida Today was. So I used to write for a publication that was the that started in the realm of USA Today short stories. They had to be very short. I think 600 to 800 words. Maybe that's not even short today, but that there was a requirement to be short and succinct when I first started. I think that Florida Today was the prototype, but yeah.
This has nothing to do with your book, but being a journalist and somebody who's dedicated your life to the art of journalism.
Yes.
When you hear the press is the enemy of the people, why does that make you feel?
That and fake news, and yes, there is some fear involved. A friend of mine was at a rally. Let's not say whose, but and they were coming after the journalists. I mean, I think journalists are being targeted now too, and that is scary, because I do relate to all the journalists, and I don't like hearing fake news, and I don't like hearing when people will say media as one lump sum, and so you hear that a lot, the media. And I'm fearful of that. And I stick up and I say, wait a second. Do you forget I'm a member of the media? Oh, mainstream media, or
It's not even just that. I think, and your voice is important on this because we have people on television who are not journalists. They're talking heads. They're pretty people. They have no real journalist background. But the common people think, well, that's journalism, and we see these phonies on TV, and now they're the ones that people are angry at. These are people standing in contrived scenes for the purposes of cameras and for news stories, creating what seem to be fake stories, or at least staged to look as dramatic as possible, and that leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And then they go after people who are serious journalists and lump them in with actors who are on TV, talking heads who are on TV. I think that's what's confusing people, because there is an element of fakeness from the talking box that we have these heads in, and then it's far different from people like yourself who will write for newspapers and magazines and that kind of stuff. It's a completely different thing, but they think of it all as one thing, right?
Right. Yes. And it's scary, So now you've got, several things against you. You're Jewish, you're a journalist. So there's a lot at risk. So, do I fear? I don't think I fear being a journalist as much as I fear being Jewish today.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a pretty big state. I'm gonna have to clip that one. Too bad we don't have a marker on this network we're on now, because that's an important. What do you feel like anti-Semitism is on the rise?
Definitely, it's definitely on the rise, and hatred, just hatred, in the world that exists, that hasn't gone away. So I think anyone who's different, who's ethnic, who's not exactly totally the norm, is going to stand out. So, and that's a little scary, especially with administration changes. You don't know, and yes, the anti-Semites have come out.
Here's why I asked the question, because to me, anti-Semitism has always been very prevalent in society. I think not necessarily on the rise, but it's been given license to come out of the closet and be vocal again.
Yes.
And so I'm not. That's why I asked, is it on the rise? Because I think we've always, Mel Gibson with his little rant about the Jews running Hollywood and all that stuff. That guy, but he was drunk and free to say that. But a lot of people keep that. A lot of people walking around with those same ideas in their heads don't feel free to say it, and now they are feeling more and more emboldened to say it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I don't.
Yeah.
If that's ever going to go away, I don't think it's ever going to go away. And I think the danger in believing it has gone away just because people aren't talking about it, because people aren't free to or feel not emboldened to express it. Is
right.
Yeah. So that's yeah. It's a sticky wicket.
But if you're out there, like my book is out there, so it doesn't say Jewish on the cover or anything. So, and my name is not totally Jewish, so right. It doesn't give it away, but it's still a concern, and especially since October 7th, 2023, with what's going on in Israel. But none of this is very happy talk, that bringing down your co-hosts, liven it up.
Yeah.
Well, but the good
always
news
happy talk. I think we definitely care about important issues here, and we talk about politics and that kind of stuff all the time here.
Right.
Not sure we ever come up with any real solutions. It's just a lot of frustration and a lot of venting and all that kind of stuff.
Right. But there are some humorous parts of the book where, in terms of that melting pot of America, where there's my uncle came home and said, the teacher says I can't say goople, and my grandparents said, that's right, don't say goople, it means spoon. You say spoon. If the teacher says you say spoon, you say spoon. Stop using Yiddish in the classroom. And there's confusion. I was like, at home we say goople. Why can't I use goople? So and then there was another scene where a word that means one thing in Czechoslovakian means something different. A female sexual organ in Czechoslovakian, and in German it means something else. So there was a little bit of confusion as in a discussion. So that's in the book too, using different languages and what they mean in different languages, certain phrase. So.
And that you said Czechoslovakian, because every time I say that, people jump down my throat. There is no Czechoslovakia anymore.
Well, there isn't, but there was.
Right.
Yeah. So where my grandfather lived changed hands. And in the book, I say Russia seems to enjoy fighting. Well, isn't that that's also happening now? But Russia, in the book, there was changes of ownership of the land. So it was Czechoslovakia, it was Hungary, it was Ukraine. And so there was a lot of fighting back then, and Russia enjoyed fighting back then is a line in the book. So that's cyclical and happening yet here today.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they like it or they just do it, but
I think we also still say Russia when we talk, sometimes when we're talking about the old Soviet Union. That's a big point of confusion for people too, because we tend to think, and that's where Ukraine and all these things come into play, is because a lot of people still think of Ukraine as Russia and Georgia as Russia, and all of it was Russia when it was the Soviet Union. A lot of different states that became part of something, not necessarily willfully became parts of something. The world is a very confusing place.
Yes. The lines.
What about because in writing for magazines, writing for WebMD, USA Today, and all these things, it's you don't have a publishing company. The idea of publishing a book, and that has changed dramatically in our lifetime. Any frustrations with the publishing industry for novelists that's different from the world that you world?
Well, I've been published by some major publishers in terms of media that I mentioned, and then, but in terms of getting this book published, even though I'm a published writer, it took me about 10 years. I won an award in 2009 for the book. So I say that it took me 7 years to write the book, couple of years before I won anything for the book, and then maybe 10 more years to get published, because I was holding out for a professional publisher instead of self-publishing. I felt like that I owed it to myself to be professionally published, to go through the slush pile, to be chosen. The same as when you enter an award, you're chosen. You've been selected, and so that there are those that are not going to be selected, and so you've made it to the top. There was that kind of achievement that I was looking for, and I guess if I got old enough, I would have self-published, but I felt young yet, and thought I could achieve it. I had gotten signs along the way that including the 2009 Amazon Breakthrough Novel Award contest I was a quarterfinalist for historical fiction, and enough people that thought that the book was well written, and I knew the writing wasn't the issue. It was just finding the right publisher. So I found my first publisher, and I worked with her for 2 years, and then she dropped me over a legal concern that had to do with my family member I thought might sue me that I mentioned. So yes, that was the family member that might sue me. Oh, I didn't mention the suing part, but
it's silly.
Yeah, I thought maybe she hasn't, but but I was concerned, so the publisher backed out because I wanted an LLC to protect myself, and she wanted to know why. So when 6 depressing months later, I got a second publisher, and when I said, "Are you concerned about this?" she said, "They're going to sue you, not me." So no, yeah. So there's that.
This is so interesting to me, is because I understand your whole perspective on this, and there's a lot more prestige and there's a lot more satisfaction in knowing that you've been chosen and a publishing company wants to be behind you. But in today's reality, it's much less advantageous to be published by a traditional publisher, because first of all, they take the lion's share of the profits, or a good portion of the profits, and you still have to do all the work that a self-published person has to do with marketing and all that, because they don't want to put the finger. They just want to put it out there and take your money.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my frustration.
So I'm not making any money on it yet, but I'm still hoping. So, but yeah, that's what I wanted. That was my goal, to make it to that point. So I held out for it. I have one other funny story, because I'm trying to liven you guys up, because you came in so excited about Jason Bateman, I think, but I could be wrong.
Now, Justine Bateman, his sister, who.
Oh, right, Justine. Okay, I saw that. Apologies. Yes. So, the way I got into journalism, I think is a little bit funny. So I'm just going to steal the forum and say, I tell this story that when I was watching General Hospital with a friend of mine in high school, and she said I was looking for maybe a career. We had to make career choices, and she said, "I'm going to do journalism." Now, this was a popular girl. This, popular. It's from Wicked, but it really was true back when you're growing up. It all was about being popular. I don't know if it's still the cool kids, right? She was a homecoming queen, but she was my friend. So I had popular friends, but I wasn't totally popular. So I just had popular friends. So she told me she was going to do journalism, and I said, that might be my way to become popular, is I'll become a journalist too. Well, that didn't quite happen, but I think it was a good choice, and I stayed with it. I don't think she did, but she might have gone into public relations. But just the idea of following somebody else's path, but it ends up being your path. But it was a good choice, because I like to write. I'm the only idiot that liked to write essays. And in fact, in college, I would make money typing on a typewriter papers, and I would correct their papers for no extra cost. I would edit them and make them better. So if they were going to get a B, hopefully they got an A, because I hope they didn't get in trouble, actually, because my writing, I knew that I could make their essay better. And so when I typed it, I made it better. So hopefully I didn't screw them up with their teacher going, you really write this well.
You got into journalism to be popular, and
right,
being the enemy of the people.
Oh, there you go. See, never works out the way you intend.
Before I let you go here, the RonnieRobbins.com link is in the description. It's scrolling across for the people on the video side, but on the radio side, RonnieRobbins.com. Ronnie is RONI, Robbins ROBBINS.com, and that's where they can find out more about you, more about the book. The title, Hands of Gold, what does that signify?
So hands mean a lot of different things. We work with our hands. The cover is misleading. That's not exactly what the hidden hands of gold means. So people will have to read the book to find that. But hands are our livelihood. Hands are nurturing. Hands are romantic, holding hands. Gold is wealth. Gold is the golden land, was what they called America back in Europe. The streets were supposed to be paved with gold. They obviously were not, and people saw that when they got here. but there was wealth. So it's the wealth, it's the lack of wealth, it's the golden years. All of that works into the book.
Now it's the hands of crypto.
Yeah, no cryptocurrency here. It's pure gold. Whatever that's worth for. I'm trying to show that I wear a hands of gold. It's a hamsa, which is good luck. But it's an actual hand of gold. So if my hair wasn't in the way, you'd see it. There it is. So yep.
Just interesting that you said the cover is misleading. Is this a traditional publisher who decided on the cover, or did you decide on the cover?
No, I proposed the cover. The cover is a hardworking man's hands. You can see definition in the fingers. This is somebody who works with their hands, and it's weathered fingers of a working man's hands. But there's a secret in the book with the hands of gold, and it has to do with a treasured heirloom. So I'll let you think about that. But you can. I think that writers try to hide different tidbits within their writing, something mysterious. And that's when you read the book and you go, maybe that's what she means by hands of gold. So I asked this question at my book talk, and sometimes people will get it, but usually they don't.
Yeah. My advice counts for nothing, and my thoughts count for nothing. But I would have just tried to sell the sex part of it, because you said there's sex in it, and that's what people care about most. Ron would buy it. I know that if you sold the sex in the title, and the imagery on the book were just a more sexual, that's what America cares about. That's what the world.
I don't know what kind of title I could have worked around that one, but.
We'll probably come up with something after you leave.
Okay.
Yeah. Pots of gold. No, I'm sorry. Being very, very disrespectful, and you haven't even left yet. Thank you for being part of the program. I hope people.
Thank you.
I hope people do check out your book, and congratulations on the awards and stuff.
Thank you.
All right.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Ronnie Robbins, folks. Hands of Gold is the name of the book. RonnieRobbins.com. I don't know. We could have done lots of gold. Sell the sex part. Sell the sex part. You agree that selling the sex would make it more lucrative, right?
Sex sells.
Sex sells. If it smells, it sells. That's what Bill Murray said.
If it smells, you might have to sell it. But
Oh, I don't know if you've ever been to a fish market.
I avoid anything with that scent.
All right. What do you guys think about that entire discussion of the story? I feel like never forget. We say never forget about a lot of things, but then we forget immediately. Like Nazism, the rise of Nazi Germany wasn't long enough for us to forget about it. It was, I
don't even remember 9/11 anymore. So
you don't remember it?
No, I do.
Every September 10th through 12th, you remember it, right?
Yeah, more or less.
Remember 9/11 and remember all the school shootings and mass shootings in between that and the wars.
Yeah,
I don't remember those. What
my
happened?
whole life has been just tragedies, man. But the earliest tragedy I can remember is
when I asked you to be on this show.
No, there was the first World Trade Center bombing, then Columbine.
Well, you don't remember that. The first World Trade Center bombing, you don't remember that. You were born then.
Well, that happened like 92 or 93, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to blow up like the World Trade.
I was there.
Were you meeting a guy in the Were you meeting a guy in the parking garage?
I was in the Winter Garden atrium. We used to produce shows in the Winter Garden atrium, lights and sounds for concerts and stuff. And I was a crew, managing a crew that day it just shook a little in the atrium. We didn't know what was going on, and then the power went out, and then all the cell phones went out. Beepers, not cell phones, because in those days everything was on beep. You remember beepers, Stephen? No, you don't remember.
Yeah, I remember beepers.
You had a beeper?
I didn't have one, but I remember them.
Yeah. All those went out, and that was when we knew something was up, because hey, and there's always beepers working. Yeah, 92. Man, I'm old.
It was 93 when it was the bombing happened in 93.
I should probably lay down and die, right?
I mean, you didn't then. Why now?
I'm old enough.
Are you though?
All right. What else you got? You got anything today?
I'll be at Summit City Comedy Club tonight.
Tonight?
Yep.
Hump Day night.
Hump Day night.
It's Hump Night.
Hump Night.
The Supreme Court may release what the decision on TikTok is today.
And it is?
No, it may. They may.
I thought I just heard they were extending the ban by 200 or wanting to expand the ban by 270 days.
No,
that's probably that. I think that's what most people are hoping for, because Slump doesn't have a backbone. So all someone has to tell him is that they love you on there, dummy.
I thought he was supportive of TikTok now, right?
He said he was. He said he was, but that doesn't mean he is.
Flip flopper on TikToker. He's a tip top and flip flopper.
He's a TikTok and flip flopping fucking orange prick.
But everyone, like Steven mentioned last night, a lot of people are flocking to this app called Red Note, which is
God, dude, it's so dude. My fucking wife is laying in bed, and I'm like, listen, I get you're on this new app. It's all Chinese.
What is it?
It's called Red Note, and it's a mix of like people from TikTok now mixed with Chinese people's videos. And I'm just like, oh God, this is horrible, because it's 90% of it's just and I'm just like, oh.
But how long it's not? It's like whack-a-mole, right? They'll be on that one now. Because is the Chinese government involved in it, or?
Remember, it's only okay for American companies to steal your data or have data breaches, then let you know months and months later that it happened.
Well, that's what we talked about last night. Was people the average person is so just aloof about their data being stolen. Most of them don't care, and they'll all say the same thing. Well, I have nothing to hide, and yeah, they're just gonna jump. And now in protest, they're jumping to this app because it's made in China. The Chinese people there have admitted that the government watches this site. They watch it very closely. They watch everybody on it. So, and a lot of people are doing it in protest.
So basically, your position is we should nuke China today.
No, because like almost everything I love in life is made in China.
So it's C-pop, not J-pop. C-pop.
I don't know if C-pop's a thing. My wife's into K-pop and J-pop. I don't know about C-pop. Well, she likes it when I C-pop her, but that's about it.
How much for TikTok? Because Mr. Beast, I don't know. You're familiar with Mr. Beast? He's the Beast. He said maybe I'll buy TikTok yesterday. And I thought, well, how much money do you? Because this guy made all his money off of YouTube, right? He got super rich off of YouTube.
He makes money off of every social media platform he's on.
What other platform is he on? He's just
Facebook, X, TikTok. He was on. He's on. I think he had.
I'm curious.
He had stuff on Twitch. Yeah.
What are you doing? Why Siri? I didn't say Siri. Siri. How much? How much for TikTok? He said maybe you can buy it. This is what I'm curious about. Like, what's the price tag? Do you have any idea?
No, I don't. I'm trying to see what.
Billions, right? Or am I just crazy?
Yeah, it would be billions.
Twitter was 44 billion when Elon bought it, right?
When he bought X, it was like 44 billion. But even then, I think he lowballed it. Didn't he offer more money than it was worth before?
Yeah. But Mr. Beast says that he's had people contact him ever since he announced that he would buy TikTok as well.
Right.
And I think I think logically it makes sense for Mr. Beast to buy that.
So
It'll
he's
keep it in America.
because I thought I thought he only was making like money off of videos and like you can make $1 billion.
He's a billionaire. He
No,
is a
he's
billionaire.
you got to remember he has multiple channels on YouTube. Every channel that he has in English, he also has in other languages that he produces that way. He has food lines, clothing brand deals, advertising on TV and all that shit.
That show on Prime.
That show on Prime. He also bankrolls other videos.
Shopify stores for a while, right?
Like, he does all of that shit, dude. All of that.
Well, I guess I'm going to withdraw my bid for TikTok then, because I didn't know I was up against that kind of money.
Like, here's how smart the dude is. The dude will spend $1 million on a video, make it a tax write-off, and then make 20 times that back on the video every time. The dude's crazy.
I was having a discussion, and I got to be a little careful about how I say this. Discussion with a mother of a teenage son who was worried about her son spending too much time on computer and video games because he's just going to end up like one of these losers stuck in the basement. Well, there's a flip side of that. This Mr. Beast guy was one of those kids, right? And so it's not necessarily always a negative thing. It's just how do you steer?
But it's also the odds. It's just like growing up in a neighborhood and every kid wants to be a football player. And there's only 400 or 500 professional NFL players in the world, and there's like 8 billion kids who want to be NFL players or something.
I'm just confused about. Do you think Mr. Beast was just lucky?
There's luck and opportunity. There's luck and opportunity because it's hard for me. I don't want to say just lucky because you also have to be prepared to take advantage of the opportunity when it arises.
I think he was in the right place at the right time as far as when he was born, and he was able to learn and grow and understand how online marketing works, how producing content works, how to capture people's attention. And he's I think there was an element of luck, but I think 90% of it realistically is just effort and hard work by him.
He's not even 30 yet, right?
But he's not even 30 yet, I don't think. And you don't really ever see the guy just on vacation or just
But does he get a good night's sleep? But does he get a good night's sleep?
I don't know, because like I said, it seems like every day he's doing something, whether he's on a podcast promoting something or doing one of his own shows or one of his own.
Get him on the show.
I mean, I'm sure he's got some in the works.
Call him, don't you?
I'm pretty sure he's on first name basis with A-list Hollywood, so I don't think we're just going to be able to call him up.
But you're a sitcom. That's as Hollywood as it gets.
No, sitcoms aren't really that's a dying thing.
It is a dying thing. That's why you adopted that, right? Because you felt like you were dying.
Well, because eventually sitcoms will end, but I will be forever. So, well, at least another 30 years. So,
boy, this has been a show. Yeah. So, but TD's right. You've got to get a good night's sleep or a good day's sleep. It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
I haven't had a good night's sleep since Vietnam.
Are you going to read the book about the sleep? Nobody's sleeping?
No, because it'll make me sleepy.
Are you going to read The Hands of Gold? Do you read anything? Mm-hmm. Can you read?
Yes.
Do you know how to read?
Yes.
Oh, that's a start.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Jewish?
No.
So you're not chosen?
Mm-mm.
You're going to hell.
Well, it depends on who you're asking. I mean, chosen by the Jews? No, I am blonde hair, blue eyed.
No, I meant chosen by God as one of the.
Oh, I would have been chosen by the Fuhrer. No, I wouldn't have been. I'm disabled. Never mind.
What is
it? Yeah, I'm not. No, not even God liked me. He broke me at birth.
There's a difference between. I just want to clarify for people who might have been following the program. There's a difference between being a chosen person by God and chosen by a publishing company.
That is true.
It's like
truth.
Are we done here?
I think we're done here.
What am I supposed to do now? Take a nap?
I think you're supposed to remind everyone to turn on their radio.
No, I'm not. I wasn't ready to click the button, so.
Then I guess not. I don't know. Oh, by the way, I don't know why sriracha is still hard to find, but don't get this crap. This crap is not sriracha. It's like sweet. It's gross.
It looked like honey.
What's it called?
It says sriracha hot sauce, but it's made by a Thai company, but it's just sweet.
All right. Bill Burr, his hilarious March 14th. Beware the odds of March. Bill Burr.
Ooh.
That was the opportunity we missed to say hilarious.
Hilarious.
Okay, I'm ready to push the button if you.
Oh, well then don't forget to turn on your radio.